will be thrown away.
But no bad effect on the carcass?
No, it's just the liver that will be thrown.
While the liver is sent away to be incinerated, the rest of the carcass needs to be split. Every bullock or cow killed in the UK must have its spinal cord removed.
We split the carcass, exposing the spinal cord, which we are now having to remove because it is a possible contaminant for BSE. And I will now stamp it as fit for human consumption.
The carcass will be stored overnight with the other one in the abattoir's refrigeration unit and will be sent to the farm tomorrow morning.
Those conditions, I must admit, were much better than ones that I've read or seen on the internet. But for me, the killing was still traumatic, and the way the animal dropped onto the floor, I couldn't actually watch that. I was a real coward.
It was a good experience, actually. I'm glad I got to see it being done because I think my imagination was worse than the reality. The most shocking bit was when they took the head off, the blood, you saw the... And I'm not very squeamish, so that sort of thing doesn't normally bother me, but I've just never seen it done before.
I was shocked at my own reaction.
Shit, sorry.
I really thought that I'd be okay with it, as in just seeing the animal die. I mean, I was shocked I actually reacted in the way I didn't think I would react.
Today they'll butcher and turn their carcasses into burgers. And Luke's short spell as a vegan comes to a close.
Breakfast this morning is full English. I sort of missed it yesterday. I did eat the vegan breakfast, but I'm going for the whole hog on this one.
The trainee butchers are waiting to help offload the carcasses.
Give it a good push. It's quite heavy.
You want to have a go, James?
No, thanks. I don't really want to touch it. Peter, sorry. Respectfully, I'd like to decline.
But non-meat-eating Christella is willing to get hands-on.
Christella, look at you, a butcher at work.
No, not that exact. It's not a living creature. For me, it was about the killing process. Now it's done.
The groups are once again split into two. Butcher John Nash is taking the flesh from the neck, and he'll show his group how to remove the meat to make their burgers. Instructing the second group, Tubbs Moran. He's showing Mawson, Kerry and Christella the difference between the meat from yesterday's slaughter and the 4-week hung meat the farm normally uses to make burgers.
You feel this is just all floppy and horrible, isn't it? It's full of moisture, that is. This here is set up. It's been hung for 4 weeks. All the moisture's been taken out of it.
Peter, why do you hang your meat?
Well, Julia, we've spent 3 years growing these bullocks. We've done everything we can to make them sensational. The hanging is adding the wow factor. We want that moment when somebody sticks it in their mouth to be, oh, that's gorgeous. The hanging makes a very big difference.
John, what happens chemically to the meat while it's hanging here?
If you tried to eat a piece of meat 2 hours after slaughter, it's almost inedible. 24 hours sends it on the right route. 4 weeks is brilliant. It's the enzymes, really, within the meat that cause slowly these changes. This has been hung for about a week and still retains the sort of cherry redness you will see in typical supermarket beef. This has been hung for between 3 and 4 weeks.
Almost black.
And where it's got a deep burgundy wine colour, and the taste reflects it.
On a mass scale, what would the normal hanging period be?
They're going to hang them for 24 hours. If you're killing that many animals a day, you just can't afford to have that big a refrigeration unit.
Back in the processing room, Mawson, Christella and Kerry are cutting out the neck meat from the bullock they watched die yesterday and which they'll mince into burgers.
It just hit me now that this is the actual animal that I cut about yesterday. But it doesn't bother me as I would thought it would, so no.
Non-meat-eating Christella even tries some butchery herself.
Right, all you're doing is just cutting down close to this dark meat. Okay?
I'm not
You
married
see
to
this?
this, I'm sorry. Can I give it back to you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Explain the difference between a prime cut and a cheaper cut.
Mass market butchers reckon the big rump is the expensive cuts. The further you go to the neck, the more scraggy it is, the more suitable it is for mince.
There are some muscles which are quite plain, those ones certainly will be some of the ones that we would use for mincing.
The tastiest, most tender muscles are really simply the muscles that do the least work. Fillet steak comes from a muscle inside the abdomen that does absolutely no work at all. The tougher muscles are ones that have been put to more exercise. They have less fat in them, and they are more chewy, unless you break them up, for example, into mince, or you stew them for a long period.
Now both groups have butchered the carcasses from yesterday's slaughter, they'll need to turn the flesh into minced beef under the supervision of Gary Morgan, the farm's head of processing. Even vegan James is lending a hand.
What goes into a Piper burger?
It's simply our red ruby beef mince and a little bit of onion, a little bit of tomato puree, and just a touch of salt and pepper.
Now Gary gets the group to operate the patty-making machine.
Start to come out.
How do other burgers compare?
The best of the fast food companies, both in this country and the big international ones, have actually made a thing of known provenance, high-quality meat, and animal welfare. I think that's because they're selling to the young. And the young are not particularly concerned about their own health. If they were, they probably wouldn't eat so many burgers, but they are concerned about animal welfare. And companies are out to woo the young, and they're doing it quite honourably.
Hello, my little apprentice butchers. So who's enjoying this?
It smells really nice, and obviously I've never made burgers before, but I'm kind of like, you know, I've learned now how to do it.
James, are my eyes deceiving me? You're holding a tray of raw meat.
Yeah, it's not the most pleasant experience in the world, but I'm just holding a tray.
Do you admit that they look pretty good?
No. I don't eat burgers. I don't think any burger looks good, apart from a veggie burger. The onions I liked. I liked the smell of the onions, but and the pepper and the salt, but that was about it. The rest of it smells like meat.
Cristela, look tasty to you?
Let's not push it. Not sure yet.
Not sure. Now, Luke, are you looking forward to trying the burgers tonight?
I am, actually. I think it's an important thing that I eat what we've killed and we've seen be killed and butchered now, and so, yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to it now. It's not just a burger, it's sort of something we saw in a field yesterday.
And there they are, numbers 2 and 3. In your hands, James.
Yes. Lovely.
Not all burgers are made in this way. Food scientist Dr. Helen Osborne is here to explain what typically goes into the cheapest supermarket ones.
Helen will talk us through the content of the meat.
Well, in an economy burger, there only has to be 42% meat if it's a beef burger.
What goes in next to our economy burger?
That'll be the onion.
Right, fresh
This
onion.
one, the fresh onion.
OK.
After the onion, the wheat flour. That will help bind the mixture together, and we're also adding some water, and so that will help absorb the water.
How's this looking so far compared to your lovely burgers? Pretty vile.
Then we have the barley malt extract. That will give us some colour when we cook the burgers.
Bit of a trick, really.
Next, we'll have the soy protein isolate. It's a bulking agent. It adds extra protein to the mix, so it looks healthier and more nutritional.
Presumably the meat itself isn't as tasty as our premium burgers either.
It'll taste different because there's less lean meat in there and more fat.
To make up for the missing flavours, new ones are added, including salt, sugar, white pepper, yeast, onion and garlic powder.
So it's time to blend. What do you think?
It smells not as strong.
It doesn't smell as fresh as the one we mixed earlier.
It's horrible.
To be honest.
I wouldn't say it's horrible, but it's just not as strong as that one.
The garlic and the onion kind of make it smell a bit nicer, but it's kind of there as a cover-up. Well, I have a husband and 2 children. They tend to eat a lot of things that are easy to hold, and things like chicken nuggets and stuff like that. I think it's very easy when you see meat packaged in a supermarket to forget where it comes from. And I probably spend about £40–50 a week. It can be very difficult to feed 4 people on that amount of money, and it tends to be the same sort of things over and over again.
Though Kerry's used to cooking economy burgers, it's now time for her and the group to cook the burgers made from the animals they saw die yesterday. And co-owner of the farm, Henry Gregg, helps the team fry them up. They'll also cook the premium burgers made from 4-week hung meat and the economy version.
fantastic. Now, this is the freshly killed one. Most mince that you're buying is freshly killed like that. It started to break up.